Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, or whatever time zone it is, wherever you in the world. It is your Lord and Saviour, and we are doing something very, very different today. Last night, the 10th of October 2023 in the year of our Lord Telos, Demiplane released a character creation builder tool on their Nexus site thingy for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, and this is particularly important because this is the first, as of the recording of this, proper online character creation tool. There's been a lot of fan stuff, but this is the first official one. And I wasn't going to do something like this partly because I did a Twitter thread last night, which I'll link in the description below for you. So I didn't think it was warranted me doing that. But then I saw that Steve of Vancouver by Night, the actual play for V5, great channel, great stuff, again I'll leave that in the description below for you to check out, did a character creation tutorial on how to use the system. And whilst it was very good and interesting to see how it worked, I do think there's been a couple of points that have been missed. It's no secret that Steve is Vancouver by Night is regularly sponsored by Demiplane, so he would have access to all the materials. Now, this is not me saying that, he's sponsored by them so he's being paid to do this, or he's being paid to be nice about them, although it would be in his interest to be, at the very least, tolerable, and not as dismissive as I'm just about to be with this. So I don't want anybody to accuse me of this, that, and the other. I do think there's a couple bits and pieces that are worth pointing out with this that I feel have been glossed over. And if anybody doesn't know what this is, Demiplane is a site where certain games, TTRPG games, exist. You can build characters, you can find other people to play with, you can play games with, and as I said, V5. This is the first official one for V5. And in order to show you my gripes with it, and also just how it works, I feel it'd be better to do a proper review of this. So you have my face in the middle of the screen, so at the top and the middle of the screen, so you can see basically everything else that's going on. On the right-hand side, you have general summaries of the book and the game, which are taken from the core book, which is something I'm going to highlight in a moment. Above that, you have the character's health, willpower, blood potency, humanity, and experience, which all matters towards the end, as you're assigning various attributes and whatnot. But anyway, I think we should just crack on and unpack it as we carry on doing this. This is the main character creation screen, as it were. There's a couple menus prior to that, but it involves you logging on and looking around at the Vampire Nexus. Which you can do in your own time. I will leave a description to that in the link below, in the description below. I've been doing this for 4 years and I still cannot get that bit right. Anyway, so what's in a name? And I'm going to have to lean over quite awkwardly. I'm just going to call this individual Bob. Select the age range of your character. We are going to say that they're a childer, because as you soon discover, without doing all the other leaps and hurdles in order to use this fully, it's actually very difficult to make a character. Now, I could upload a portrait, or we can just choose a selection of portraits here. And I'm going to choose this. Who's going to be Bob? You look like a Bob. So there we go. And we can begin. And when you upload them, portraits, you can fiddle around with the size and the rotation and whatnot, so you get all those options if you have original art, or there's a picture online that you want to use. And immediately we are thrust into the main gripe that I have with this tool. Demiplane and its Nexus does not really give you much access to its tools and its systems if you don't buy their versions of the book. And I say by their versions, it's the exact same core book and source books that you have probably purchased already via PDF or physical format. You can't use those. You can't port those over. It's specifically theirs, which presents itself on the right-hand side of the screen here, which you can read about. This is the description of the clans, and we scroll down a bit more. We find my first gripe with using the core book material copied and pasted over. It refers to the Giovanni here, which, of course, anybody who's coming into Vampire via V5 may not necessarily know that the Giovanni are part of the Hakata. It would have been nice if there was a bit more of a summary here, or at the very least this was updated, because this has come after the release of the core book by quite a while, and sometime after the companion, which leads me to my next gripe. You may notice that the Banu Hakim logo, which are the Assamites, their nonsensical, redundant, somewhat offensive logo is still the St. David Star theme with the... It's essentially gibberish. It's meant to... I cannot remember exactly what it's supposed to say, but it's just... No. It looks Iranian for an aesthetic vibe, and it was changed with the release of the V5 Companion. Now, this came a good year and a bit, or a few months or whatever, after that, and obviously the V5 team in World of Darkness HQ in Stockholm have access to these files, and you would have thought, with all that in mind, it would have all been ported over to Demiplane to use that, and this has existed for quite a bit. Not the character creation bit, but the rest of the book. So for that logo to be there shows great laziness and a lack of care from the people who are working on this, and also really the people who are playing it. Sure, most people wouldn't give a flying monkeys, but there was enough people that complained about it for it to be changed. Rightly so. So for it not to have said changes carried over is just bizarre. And as you can see, most of the clans are not available, because as I described, you need their version of the core book. So how much is that? So if we have a look at the Tremere, click on lock, that is 29 smackaroos, or $29 if I be a bit more serious about that. Which, a decent-ish price, I guess, if it was a PDF, but why should I buy their version of the core book when I have all the other V5 books as a PDF form? And the whole thing with this, oh, you can use these anywhere online. Like, you don't have to be limited to a machine, but I can do that already. Like, I could fill out a PDF, print it off, fold it up, roll it up, smoke it, set it on fire, give my arch nemesis paper cuts in particularly sensitive areas. I could do whatever I want on that PDF. I am not limited to being online, which I feel is simultaneously convenient, but also a huge negative. And you're only given 2 clans if you do not pay for them. The Toreador and the Bruja. And the reason why you have those available is because they are pre-generated character options, the Toreador and the Bruja, which is why I feel some of the backgrounds are available as well. Yes, those are locked as well. Now, I'm quite curious to see what happens if I click on the Ravnos, because the Ravnos were included in the V5 Companion, which was released for free, and Demiplane, when you do make an account with them and choose Vampire as your game, you do get the Companion Guide for free. So am I able to unlock that? No, I cannot. I need to buy the Player's Guide to use a free clan. Again, $29. I'm assuming if I choose Salubri, the same thing's going to happen. Yes, it is. What happens if I choose the Banu Hakim from before? Because that was in the Camarilla Guide. The Camarilla Sourcebook, $29. The Hakata, which was at the top of the page here, $29, the Cult of the Blood Gods, with a slightly squashed image there. And just to fill it out, La Sombra, you get the general idea. So you need to buy these books. I mean, if this is the first time that you're buying these books, I suppose this isn't the worst thing in the world. But for someone like myself, and I guess a huge majority of 5th edition fans, I do not see why anybody would use this when Roll20 is out there and you can import those things in there, for example, or do what I do, run games via Discord, and if anybody needs a PDF, I can just send them along or get players to buy them, or in physical format, you have the books available, or again, PDFs. So, let's have a look at the Bruja, because yesterday I made a Toreador character, so let's make a Bruja, just to spice things up a little bit. And then on the right hand side you get the description of what Bruja is, you get their disciplines, clan description, who are the Bruja, which again comes from the core book, and that actually has that issue of the lawyer representing the poor Bono, the Neo, claiming to be alt-right. And It would have been nice if those those reprint things were carried over as well. But it's not, and we just get the same write-ups. We've got the artwork, which really, as I said, this all comes straight from the core book, and it would have been nice if there were just like summaries here, or, as I said, the updated writings. But compared to the PDF books, this to me just looks like a fancy Word document. It's not particularly fantastic to look at. It's appropriately edgy. You got bits from writings from the source book, the Camera of the source book, which is nice. You talk about the Conclave of Prague. You got all this artwork and the photo stuff. And in a moment, if I keep scrolling along, we're going to find, I'm assuming, how to buy these books again. But I suppose it is nice on the one hand that you do not need to purchase the books in a sense to access this to an extent. But in order to have access to the other clans besides Bruja and Toreador, you will need to purchase them. And even then, what's presented here is just contextual flavour. You've got their bane, the powers and whatnot, all the discipline spreads that they have. Ooh, there's a second page. How exciting. And no, it's just a second page of discipline powers. Okay, so we selected the Bruja. There's a delay here now. Okay, nothing happens. It just says remove clan. So it's acknowledged that we have selected the clan. It doesn't take you over to the next page. You have to physically do that yourself. Okay, I'm not too sure why the delay was needed. And then we have assigning the attributes, which is a bit odd in how it's done. I mean, again, on the right hand side, you have the descriptions of things. The way the character creation works, you have one attribute has 4, one has 1, and then the rest is divided between 3 and 2. But it doesn't present you 2 here. It gets you to sign 3, 4, and 1, and then whatever left has the 4. I'm not going to pay much attention to the process here. You see, you click on the 4, the one selection is there, and the same carries over there. The way that it's set out here, and from what we've seen so far, I kind of expected it to be in the same menu, but having it like this does make it a bit easier. It just takes it a little getting used to. As I said, I'm not going to pay much attention to them. I am literally just going to work my way down the list here, and then select manipulation, which has 3, and the rest now have 2. We scroll down a bit on the left-hand side, or roughly in the centre. We choose the skill distribution. Jack of all trades, balanced, and specialist. I'm just going to choose specialist because it's the quickest to do for the time being. And I'm just going to follow a similar sort of layout here just for speedy reasons. I mean, if you click on these drop-down menus here, you get told a bit more about them, what each dot means, referring to the core book, which is useful. You're told about the specialties, which we will fill out later on. So we're going to give 3 dots of brawl, drive, and craft. It's going to be a very interesting character, this. Oh, and just in case anybody asks, because there's always at least one person asking when I do these character creation things, if for whatever reason you wish to use this character in your games, go ahead. I couldn't give a flying toss. So we're filling the last of the dots here. Very interesting build here. We scroll down a bit more. Now we have to assign our specialties. We have 2 to fill out because one of them went in craft because that's the compulsory run. I'm just going to go with crime here because it's the first thing that I saw. I'm doing this one-handed because I'll have to lean over awkwardly from how I set up. Choose a skill. I'm going to choose Animal Ken. I'm going to have to reach over here a bit weirdly, despite what I just said. And we're just going to type in your mother because she's in fact a wild animal. Those jokes have never died of me, so you're going to have to put up with them. We're dealing with a bit of cringe here, so you're going to deal with a bit of cringe in return. Now we get to the discipline powers. It's interesting that we do it this way first and not through the specialties, but whatever. Presence. Actually, no, I'm going to go with potence this time, because with my previous character with the Toreador, I chose presence and celerity. Oh, of course, I now need to choose the second one. It's been a while since I've done V5 stuff, so I may forget things here and there. And once we've done that, we can select our individual powers. I'm going to choose for celerity, rapid reflexes, and then we're going to go to potence. Now, interestingly, when I was doing this, you see you got the powers and it describes which book they come from. You can click on the little arrow there and it tells you what it does. Interestingly enough, this one comes from the player's guide, and I was expecting this to go, oh, you need to buy this in order to use it, but no, you are able to access it, so it is a little handy in that sense. So you can make some characters without purchasing the books, but you can only do Toreadors and Bruja. So I'm going to choose that one for the 2.1, and then we're going to do Soaring Leap because I like that one. I've always found that one enjoyable. Now we go to the Predator type, and just as I'm beginning to enjoy the process and you think about things a bit seriously, we're now presented back to, oh, you only have these Predator types available because you need to buy the appropriate books. Go to Bloodleech, we need to buy the core book. We can't port that over. Trapdoor is a new one from the player's guide. Click on that and you need the player's guide to use it. You see, it's just a bit unusual to me that you're able to use the disciplines from the player's guide, but it won't let me use the Predator type. A little unusual that. I will just go with Alley Cat. It tells you what it does. Nice font, although these highlighted bits are a bit weird. You hover around those and you get little pop-ups that come up. Similar to contacts, it tells you what to do. It's a background. You click to see more. I'm going to select Alley Cat. And then it tells you about the specialties to deal with those. So I'm just going to put in stick-ups, because why not? Which gives us 1 dot. And then we go to disciplines. We're going to give ourselves a dot of celerity, just even them out a little bit, because why not? Now we need to go down to celerity again and select a 2.1, which I'm going to select fleetness, because why not? Now we go over to advantages and flaws, and this to me is the most frustrating bit of this, because there are so many of them, or at least how they're presented here, but you can't access any of them, or like very few of them, because again you need to buy the core book. It will tell you the powers, but you need to assign advantages and flaws in order to complete the character. You don't need that specific discipline power, but you need to choose some of these, and you can't do that here. Like if we go with Starving Decay, which is okay, that one doesn't even come from the core book. Luck of the Devil doesn't. I don't recognise that. No. There are so few of them that you can do. So we go to background and some of them are available here. I'm not sure why. I'm assuming it's because it's to do with the character concepts. Sorry, the pre-gens. But I can access some of the ones here. And similar with the lore sheets. Like you can't use most of them because you need to purchase the different books. And in fact... Okay, this has changed a little bit now, because when I made my Toreador character yesterday, I was actually able to choose a couple of them. And now I can't... Okay, so this is the page that I saw yesterday with Descendant of Helena, Descendant of Tyler, and High Clan. Because Bruja's a high clan apparently now, when it had always been a low clan. Well, a low clan in the modern Knights of the Victorian Age. But for some bizarre reason, I'm able to select Descendant of Helena, who was famously known for being a Toreador. They're quite a pinnacle one in the meta plot of Vampire the Masquerade. But just to make things really easy, I'm just going to select 5 dots of Succubus Club franchise owner, and it's letting me do this, by the way. So 5 dots there. I'm going to choose Haven, because people always forget that one when they run out of things. Okay, it's now freezing. Okay, it now tells you what Haven does. Gives you all the verbiage to do with that, what each dot means. And I kind of regret clicking on that now, because this is fucking huge. Show less. I don't really care for this, so I'm just going to call this cat. We're just going to choose a good size Haven. That takes us up to 2 when it acknowledges. There we go. Now we need to choose 2 floors, and we're just going to choose shared, which comes from the player's guide, the landlord. because of course Paradox would have something to do with landlords in their game. Now from Alley Cat we now need to go back over here and choose our contact. For that, I think we have to go back to do that, because this wasn't what I did yesterday. Or do I have to go into Merit, choose contact now for that? I'm just going to choose 3 dots there just to iron that out. Yeah. So rather than being able to select on that and it brings up a separate menu, I have to go through and choose contact myself, which I think is a tad irritating. And here's a word that you don't see very often with 5th edition stuff. Lore. Concept and lore, which is basically assigning your name and stuff, which to be honest I don't really care much for, but we'll go through it anyway. You know, there's the stuff that you usually see on your character sheet: the concept, sire, chronicle, parentage, blah blah blah. Beliefs, you know, touchstones and whatnot, coterie, name, city, whatever. I'm just going to skip over all of that. So now we get to look at the experience points, and all I'm going to do is make one of those disciplines free because I don't really care about this character. We should be able to make one of those free because we have 15 experience. Or do we have to go back and choose that? Okay, that's annoying. We'll just go there to the apply. Okay, so now we have the 15 experience. I'm going to go down to discipline powers, choose celerity, and that should hopefully... No? Okay, click on the arrow over here. Okay, now it presents those options. So where's Blink? I'm just going to choose Blink. That's now spent all of our experience points. Go save changes. It says it's saved. Now we're going to go to the character sheet. And as that loads, one thing I haven't pointed out because I haven't noticed it as much here, some of the boxes at the bottom of the screen were glitching out a little bit. Now, if that happened whilst I was describing that, great. If not, also great, because that's one thing that's developed overnight, was a bit inconsistent. But anyway, this is what the character sheet now looks like. I don't know how much of my screen's taken up attributes because I've swapped tabs or whatever, so I can't actually see my screen, I guess, what the webcam's picking up. But at the top we have attributes, then we have skills, we have all the blood potence, hunger, health stuff. Then we have our disciplines, and it's useful because it tells us what we actually need. And we can hover over them, as you can see, Dex Athletics, click on that. It comes up in the bottom left here, what we can roll. We can click on the thing here. And, yeah, it does the rolling for us, which it's not particularly glamorous, but it doesn't need to. I'm going to make my hunger 1, just to demonstrate that again. Dex plus Athletics. Roll. Okay, and that's what it's done there. We've got a success in this particular example. I don't know how to change the difficulty. There's probably somehow that allows us to do this. You can do, click on strength. It brings up what strength does, but that's not actually what I wanted to do. I actually wanted to do a roll for it. So over here, you have to hover over the dots with the little dice there, which isn't particularly fantastic. And I want to punch the shit out of someone, so strength plus brawl. I know it's dex plus brawl. I've made that mistake again. I selected the text. It brings up the subscribe there, which is slowing down progress. You have to click on the number. Strength plus brawl. We've got 1 hunger. Roll that. And got 10 successes by the looks of that. Yeah, success is 10. Which, to be honest, okay, now the rest of it just pops up. Fantastic. So yeah, this looks very similar to how Roll20 does things, so it's not particularly that impressive. Now, the lagging here could be the fact that because I'm recording something as well, so do keep that in mind. But when I was doing this yesterday, this wasn't particularly quick either. So we're going to close that down. We're going to deselect those now. Another thing that I found particularly annoying is that, as you saw, I had to click on the boxes to say I have got 1 hunger. We click over here, it acknowledges that we've got superficial willpower, and it comes up with a little box saying willpower check box 1 checked, marking superficial damage. Click that again, that now becomes aggravated damage. If we come over here, it acknowledges that we've got 1 hunger checked. Now it's unchecked. Humanity doesn't work like that, which I find a little annoying. We come over here and acknowledges that the box for 4 is checked, which is semi-useful for those who are not able to see the screen properly, but it's so small that you're really having to squint, I guess, for something in such a scenario. But if I click on the box here, nothing. It just highlights hunger. And because I'm using Grammarly, it tells me what the word hunger means. But in order to adjust humanity, I have to click on the 6th here, and then adjust it over here. And I'm a bit baffled by that, because why can't I click on the boxes to remove them here? Yes, I can see it's useful. Okay, this is how humanity works, remorse, all that stuff. Very good, very handy. But why do I have to do it like that? You can do Rouse checks by clicking on these blood spatters, which I'm now defaulting to because of the player's guide. Because apparently spatter is a word. I'm not entirely too sure how to adjust experience points, to be honest. Do I have to click over here to get things up? No. Oh, but there are some awesome themes that we can have. I'm curious. I didn't see this yesterday. Do I have to purchase themes for this as well? No, we've got the Camarilla. I've seen that background display before because that's from the Onyx Path Cult of the Blood God stuff. We've got a little video of B. Dave Walters with the camera at the top. Anox changes as well. We've got a little video graph at the top. Lots of hands. Some bloody lips. All very saucy stuff. Okay. Cool. Got that. Okay, so it's decent that we have this. This is just straight from the V5 art pack. This isn't anything special. Blood stained. Just lots of blood spatters. Some graphics at the top. Cool. Nightlife. Good God, that was bright. I've just taken a point of aggravated willpower damage. Fuck me. That's ugh. No. Let's put it back over here. Oh, that was unpleasant. God, that should have had a fucking trigger warning. You know, joking aside, yeah. Do I have to come over here for experience points? Okay, and then I just type in what I want to do, just like before. Okay, so yeah, that's basically a very rushed overview of the character creation process using the Demiplane Nexus. I can't recommend this to anyone who has already purchased the PDFs and the books or the things I keep saying. Why would I do this when I have spent all my money on these PDFs and I can't port them through? You can with Roll20. Pathfinder is one of the games that's on here as well, and they have all their rules presented for free, as is the case here. But on their website and some other sites, I believe, they have the entirety of all their rules for free, and people are still willing to buy the books. I was in my local game store last week with my partner, and they finally had Pathfinder back in. It's a huge chunky tome. But I was very nearly considering buying that because with the various OGL stuff from earlier this year, which I'm not going to go into now, we all know what happened there. But, you know, it looks cool, it sounds impressive, and the teams, you know, I'm going off on a tangent here, but the point is, I know these rules are for free, and I've looked at them, but I still want to buy these books and support the writers, and, like, it's just stuff like this. Like, why should I pay the additional money to purchase these books so I can use this specific thing? It's akin to what Dungeons & Dragons Wizards of the Coast are doing with like the D&D Beyond and 1D&D. They're doing that whole virtual tabletop thing, and they're focusing on making it all digital. There's been various different YouTubers and whatnot that have talked about it in articles and whatnot. Like, sure, you have the benefit of doing it online, but I do not want to be fed into this ecosystem where my only source of being able to play from this book comes from one source. Like, I have a huge library here, like physical book, like legacy stuff there, and my V5 stuff is like all sitting on a shelf there. This computer here has all my PDFs on them. I have them backed up on a cloud storage. I've got some V5 stuff down there because I'm shortly going to run a Chicago by Night stuff with some friends. Not an actual play, so don't ask, but I will be doing some recap stuff, so keep an eye out for that. But yeah, why would I sacrifice this stuff just so I can be limited by this one ecosystem, which is very clearly still in development, because this has taken forever to implement. Like, when this came out, I thought that this should have had a character builder from the get-go. Like, We shouldn't have had to wait as long as we did to make a character. And now, even so, you can't even build a character properly without putting in loads of money. Well over $100 if you want the full experience, just to be able to play the game. And if you buy the core book as a physical item, that's $50. Sure, the only benefit that you have if you buy them here, it's about $10-20 cheaper if you buy it from Renegade Store. It's super frustrating. Like, this is the state of things. And I'm sure over time they'll improve things and add things and make it a bit more stable, and maybe they pick up this review and may tweak it or whatnot, but again, I just don't see why anybody would do this. But I could be wrong. What do you think about this? I'm genuinely interested to see what the feedback is, because I rarely see anyone talking about this. So there may be people out there who use this who have actually got a lot of joy out of this and using this as a reading from books and whatnot. And now this character creation here, they're able actually to use the system properly. And if you've already started using it, I genuinely want to hear what you think of it. Good, bad, and indifferent. And what were you expecting and what are you hoping from this in the future? Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add at that point. So, until next time, farewell.